Hello. Let's get this show started, folks, shall we? We're about ready to begin the broadcast, so get ready. Alright? We're going. We're going live.
You are about to enter the analysis zone, where political correctness is non-existent, where critical thinking skills are required, and conservative common sense reigns supreme. And now, broadcasting live from Next Gen Conservative Central Command, it's the Whitfield Analysis. And your host is Sam Whitfield.
Yes, folks, I know. I was late today. And I apologize if the audio soundbite roster was taking a long time to upload, and I wanted to get all my ducks in a row before I started the broadcast. We may have started a little late, but we're here. Folks, I'm here. Greetings to you, my friends. Sam Whitfield here, broadcasting live from Next Gen Conservative Studios via Junior Factor Nation. Thank you for joining me. Today is May 19th, 2013. It is a Sunday. It is our regular broadcast time. Couple quick things before I get into ranting about Benghazi today. I published a free ebook last night on Lulu.com. It's called Whitfield in Print. It's a really short book, like literally only about 18 pages long. It's a collection of my first 10 blog entries from my own website, the Whitfield Report. And so you can go download this book for free. It works great on your iPad, Kindle, any book that any e-reader basically. You can read this on. I am going to be writing a book. I am in the process of writing a book right now, actually, about the conservative youth movement and how the conservative youth movement started out, what we're doing, why we do what we do. I'm going to have a profile on Jason Veely, Caden Cowger, a couple of my other conservative friends. And this book is really going to explain why the conservative youth movement exists and why we must keep fighting. So, the book with my blog post that I released last night, again, that's Whitfield in Print. And it's free. I just wanted to give you a little taste of what was to come, of what is to come in my upcoming book. So download that. I've posted links to the JFN Facebook page and everything else. And we should be good from there, so go download that. Alright, so it's rant time, ladies and gentlemen. So yesterday, on my show yesterday, I spent probably about 2 hours total ranting about the IRS. And how the government is just out of control. And And it's a mess. It's a mess. I mean, the IRS situation is a mess, folks. There's no denying that anymore. But, as I've said in the past, Benghazi is also a mess, and Benghazi reeks of corruption. And, folks, last night I also made a statement. You know, back in November of 2012, I made some pretty outlandish comments about the president being involved with Benghazi and him being a corrupt leader and whatnot. And how he should have done more to help with the Benghazi situation. Well, I was forced to apologize. I even had liberals in my family tell me that what I did was wrong by calling the president a traitor. And so I apologized. But folks, one thing is clear to me. There is corruption in the White House. There is corruption in the Obama administration. It might not be President Obama himself, but someone in the administration is lying about what happened with Benghazi. Someone is trying to cover up what actually happened. And, oh, darn cell phone. Someone is trying to cover up what happened. And, I mean, the truth of the matter is, there's more to the Benghazi story than they're telling us. And hold on, folks, I'm getting Facebook messages here. I should know better by now than to leave my Facebook open. Alright. So, as I was saying, someone in the Obama administration is trying to cover it up. What happened in Benghazi. I believe that the president did know about Benghazi beforehand. This was not a surprise attack. The government knew about this before it happened, and yet they did nothing. Obama did nothing. And so, folks, I revoke my apology. Because I am not going to sit by anymore. I cannot, in good conscience, sit by it anymore and watch the government lie to us in Benghazi. Now, I have some audio clips here. I have an audio clip of Hillary Clinton, which I want to play real quick. This is her. Remember when she got all heated and flustered and said, "What difference does it make?" This is that clip. I want to play the full exchange of it and analyze it real quick. So that's how I'm going to start off the show today. And get into the chat room, folks. We're open and we're ready to talk. Alright, so I'm going to play this clip one time through before I analyze it. And then I'll play it again and break this into sections, if that makes any sense, when I analyze it. So let's hear this. Let's hear Hillary Clinton's exchange, and then I'll analyze it afterwards. Because this is going to be one of my major points tonight. Let's take a listen.
Mr. Chairman and Madam Secretary, I'd like to join my colleagues in thanking you for your service sincerely, and also appreciate the fact that you're here testifying, and glad that you're looking in good health.
Thank you.
Were you fully aware in real time? Again, I realize how big your job is, and everything was erupting in the Middle East this time. Were you fully aware of these 20 incidents that were reported in the ARB in real time?
I was aware of the ones that were brought to my attention. They were part of our ongoing discussion about the deteriorating threat environment in eastern Libya. We certainly were very conscious of them. I was assured by our security professionals that repairs were underway, additional security upgrades in place.
Thank you. Did you see personally the cable on, I believe it was August 12th, specifically asking for basically reinforcements for the security detail that was going to be evacuating or leaving in August? Did you see that personally?
No, sir.
Okay. When you read the ARB, it strikes me as how certain the people were that the attack started at 9:40 Benghazi time. When was the first time you spoke to, or have you ever spoken to the returnees, the evacuees? Did you personally speak to those folks?
I've spoken to one of them, but I waited until after the ARB had done its investigation because I did not want there to be anybody raising any issue that I had spoken to anyone before the ARB conducted its investigation.
How many people were evacuated from Libya?
Well, the numbers are a little bit hard to pin down because of our other friends, approximately 25 to 30.
Did anybody in the State Department talk to those folks very shortly afterwards?
There was discussion going on afterwards, but once the investigation started, the FBI spoke to them before we spoke to them. And so, other than our people in Tripoli, which I think you're talking about Washington, right?
Yeah, the point I'm making is a very simple phone call to these individuals, I think would have ascertained immediately that there was no protest prior to this. I mean, this attack started at 9:40 p.m. Benghazi time, and it was an assault. And I appreciate the fact that you called it an assault. But, I mean, I'm going back to then Ambassador Rice, 5 days later, going to the Sunday shows, and what I would say purposefully misleading the American public.
Well,
why wasn't that known? And again, I appreciate the fact that the transparency of this hearing, but why weren't we transparent at that point in time?
Well, first of all, Senator, I would say that once the assault happened, and once we got our people rescued and out, our most immediate concern was, number one, taking care of their injuries. As I said, I still have a DS agent at Walter Reed seriously injured. Getting them into Frankfurt, Ramstein to get taken care of. The FBI going over immediately to start talking to them. We did not think it was appropriate for us to talk to them before the FBI conducted their interviews. So, and we did not, I think this is accurate, sir. I certainly did not know of any reports that contradicted the IC talking points at the time that Ambassador Rice went on the TV shows. And, I just want to say that, people have accused Ambassador Rice and the administration of, misleading Americans. I can say, trying to be in the middle of this and understanding what was going on, nothing could be further from the truth. Was information developing? Was the situation fluid? Would we reach conclusions later that weren't reached initially? And I appreciate
Madam Secretary, do you disagree with me that a simple phone call to those evacuees to determine what happened wouldn't have ascertained immediately that there was no protest? I mean, that was a piece of information that could have been easily obtained.
Well, but Senator,
within hours, if not days.
Senator, when you're in these positions, the last thing you want to do is interfere with any other process.
Well, I realize that's a good excuse.
Number two, no, it's the fact. Number two, I would recommend highly you read both what the ARB said about it and the classified ARB, because even today there are questions being raised. Now, we have no doubt they were terrorists, they were militants, they attacked us, they killed our people. But what was going on and why they were doing what they were doing?
No. Again, we were misled that there were supposedly protests, and then something sprang out of that, an assault sprang out of that. And that was easily ascertained that was not the fact. And the American people could have known that within days, and they didn't know that.
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make? It is our job to figure out what happened and do everything we can to prevent it.
Ah, yes. What difference does it make? Oh, good God Almighty. By the way, hello, Michael. Hello, Eric. Thank you for joining the program. And, yeah, you missed my intro, guys, but I apologize for showing up late, as I said. I had some difficulty with the audio soundbite roster. Anyway, though, the reason I played that whole entire clip, you guys, ladies and gentlemen, is, first of all, I feel it's important to, because Hillary Clinton obviously blows up there. But I want to stress that in those first few minutes up until Hillary Clinton blows up, the questions that the guys were asking her were not even all that, the senators and the congressmen, they were not being hostile at all. They really were not being hostile, folks. And yet, she immediately goes into on the defense when they asked her about, wouldn't a simple phone call have sufficed? And it's unbelievable to me how it's unbelievable how they were asking her simple questions like, wouldn't a simple phone call have sufficed? And she blows up and says, what difference does it make? And yes, Eric, that was the same clip from a couple months back, but no one really seems to play that whole no one tends to play that whole clip. I'm going to play that clip back again, but I'm going to insert my commentary into here. So anyway, let me break this clip up into segments, folks. Here we go.
Mr. Chairman and Madam Secretary, I'd like to join my colleagues in thanking you for your service sincerely, and also appreciate the fact that you're here testifying, and glad that you're looking in good health.
Thank you.
Were you fully aware in real time? Again, I realize how big your job is, and everything was erupting in the Middle East this time. Were you fully aware of these 20 incidents that reported in the ARB in real time?
I was aware of the ones.
See, starting off here, folks, the senators do not disrespect her. They ask her about her health, and so she has no reason to get hostile with them, as she's about ready to do.
That were brought to my attention. They were part of our ongoing discussion about the deteriorating threat environment in eastern Libya. We certainly were very conscious of them. I was assured by our security professionals that repairs were underway, additional security upgrades in place.
Thank you. Did you see personally the cable on, I believe it was August 12th, specifically asking for basically reinforcements for the security detail that was going to be evacuating or leaving in August? Did you see that personally?
No, sir.
Okay. When you read the ARB, it strikes me as how certain the people were that the attack started at 9:40 Benghazi time. When was the first time you spoke to, or have you ever spoken to the returnees, the evacuees? Did you personally speak to those folks?
I've spoken to one of them, but I waited until after the ARB had done its investigation because I did not want there to be anybody raising any issue that I had spoken to anyone before the ARB conducted its investigation.
How many people were evacuated from Libya?
Okay, real quick, something that I've noticed about Hillary over the years. Eric, Michael, did you hear that nervous laughter that she did right as she was answering that question? Did either of you notice that too? Because that I don't know if you've noticed, but every time she's about ready to lie or BS, she does that little nervous laugh. At least that's what I've noticed. And yeah, Michael, you're absolutely right. A nervous laugh does indicate that the person doesn't like what is being said, or in her case, what is about ready to be said. Let's continue on. So here she begins with her lies.
Well, the numbers are a little bit hard to pin down because of our other.
Hard to pin down? How is it hard to pin down? The DHS and Homeland, well, DHS is Homeland Security, but DHS and the State Department should have had the numbers of all of those people who were involved. Oh, good God Almighty. Hard to pin down? That's unacceptable to me. Next.
Approximately 25 to 30.
Did anybody in the State Department talk to those folks very shortly afterwards?
No, I don't want approximates, Hillary. I want what the actual numbers are. That's what I want. Call me a stickler, call me a hard ass, but I don't want estimates. I don't want approximities. I want the actual numbers. I want the facts on this thing. Good God Almighty.
There was discussion going on afterwards, but once the investigation started, the FBI spoke to them before we spoke to them. And so, other than our people in Tripoli, which I think you're talking about Washington, right?
Yeah, the point I'm making is a very simple phone call to these individuals I think would have ascertained immediately that there was no protest prior to this. I mean, this attack started at 9:40 p.m. Benghazi time, and it was an assault. And I appreciate the fact that you called it an assault. But, I mean, I'm going back to then Ambassador Rice, 5 days later, going to the Sunday shows, and what I would say purposefully misleading the American public.
Well,
why wasn't that known? And again, I appreciate the fact that the transparency of this hearing, but why weren't we transparent at that point in time?
Well, first of all, Senator, I would say that once the assault happened, and once we got our people rescued and out, our most immediate concern was number one, taking care of their injuries. As I said, I still have a DS agent at Walter Reed seriously injured. Getting them into Frankfurt, Ramstein to get taken care of. The FBI going over immediately to start talking to them. We did not think it was appropriate for us to talk to them before the FBI conducted their interviews. So, and we did not, I think this is accurate, sir. I certainly did not know of any reports that contradicted the IC talking point.
I don't want I think. I want I know. I'm sorry, folks, but she's really ticking me off with this, well, I think, or, we're not sure on this, but we want solid answers. The American people are tired of not knowing the truth on this. This is utterly ridiculous. By the way, we're not even a quarter way into the show, folks. I've still got an article to read today. I've still got a clip from press kid Jay Carney to play. So stick around, folks, and get comfortable, because we're going to be here for a while. It's a good thing both of you guys like me. And I like you, by the way. But we're going to be here for a while, kids, so get comfortable.
At the time that Ambassador Rice went on the TV shows. And, you know, I just want to say that, you know, people have accused Ambassador Rice and the administration of, you know, misleading Americans. I can say...
Because that's what you've done. You haven't been transparent at all during this whole thing. This is the only time we're getting the truth. I'm sorry. I'll shut up and just let the rest of this clip play.
Trying to be in the middle of this and understanding what was going on, nothing could be further from the truth. Was information developing? Was the situation fluid? Would we reach conclusions later that weren't reached initially? And I appreciate...
Madam Secretary, do you disagree with me that a simple phone call to those evacuees to determine what happened wouldn't have ascertained immediately that there was no protest? I mean, that was a piece of information that could have been easily obtained.
Well, but Senator,
within hours, if not days.
Senator, you know, when you're in these positions, the last thing you want to do is interfere with any other process.
Well, I realize that's a good excuse.
Number two, well, no, it's the fact. Number two, I would recommend highly you read both what the ARB said about it and the classified ARB, because even today there are questions being raised. Now, we have no doubt they were terrorists, they were militants, they attacked us, they killed our people. But what was going on and why they were doing what they were doing?
No. Again, we were misled that there were supposedly protests and then something sprang out of that, an assault sprang out of that. And that was easily ascertained that was not the fact. And the American people could have known that within days, and they didn't know that.
With all due respect, the fact is we had 4 dead Americans. Was it because of a protest, or was it because of guys out for a walk one night who decided they'd go kill some Americans? What difference at this point does it make? It is...
Shut up, Hillary! Shut up! I can't take your BS anymore. I've heard this billions of times, and yes, I'm sorry, folks. Oh. What difference does it make? I'll tell you what difference it made. The CIA and Homeland Security and the National Counterterrorism Center, which is essentially the real-life version of CTU, we had intelligence about this attack. This was not because of some stupid freaking video, and we know it, and we know that now. And I'm absolutely ticked off. What difference does it make, Miss Clinton? I'll tell you. 4 Americans are dead. That's what's different. Listen, had you followed up on the intelligence, had President Obama followed up the intelligence, had you gotten everyone out of there, had you sent backup like the embassy had asked for, had you sent military help like they asked for, you guys would have been heroes. You guys would have been heroes. Nationwide. I would have even called you guys heroes. Because you would have done the honorable thing then. Oh. Hello, Andrew. Hopefully you can calm me down today because I'm about ready to explode. Ah. This is the same woman who, by the way, who back during Watergate, yes, she really is that old, was saying that we needed to press the Nixon administration for everything they had. Just saying. But now that she's under scrutiny, it doesn't seem to go that same way. Alright, so not only do we have Hillary Clinton saying, what difference does it make, but I've got this handy-dandy article from Breitbart.com that says, listen to this, gang. The White House says it's irrelevant as to where the president was during the Benghazi attacks. You heard me. The White House says it's irrelevant where Obama was. In other words, it doesn't matter. Let me read this article to you from Breitbart.com. I'll post a link to this in the chat for those of you who are listening. See if you show up in the chat, you get to read the articles along with me. How awesome is that? Don't know if that pasted very well. It's on Breitbart.com on the very front page if you guys want to go look at it. But anyway, sorry about that, you guys. The copy and paste didn't work. Let me try that one more time. Yeah, it's not doing anything. Sorry about that. Anyway, title of this article. This is a statement from the White House, and it says, irrelevant where Obama was during Benghazi attacks. And this is from Ben Shapiro, by the way, who I've had on my radio show. Back when I was hosting my radio show on Blog Talk Radio, I had Ben Shapiro on my show. And there should be a video of that, too. So, anyway, let me read this article, though. On Fox News Sunday this morning, White House spokesman Dan Pfeiffer was asked by Chris Wallace where in the White House President Obama was during the September 11, 2012 terrorist attack in Benghazi that killed 4 Americans. Question, asked Wallace. Question, asked Wallace. What did the president do the rest of the night to pursue Benghazi? End quote. Pfeiffer answered, look, the president was kept up to date on this as it was happening the entire night, from the moment it started until the very end. I recognize that there's a series of conspiracy theories Republicans have been spinning about it since the time it happened. He then added, the question here is not what happened here is not what happened that night. Wallace pressed him further. With due respect, you didn't answer my question. What did the president do that night? Pfeiffer said that Obama was in touch with his national security team, but as Wallace pointed out, he didn't talk to the Secretary of State except for one time after the attack was over, didn't talk to the Secretary of Defense, didn't talk with the Joint Chief of Staff as it developed. Finally, Wallace asked whether Obama was in the Situation Room. I don't remember what room the president was in on that night, shot back Pfeiffer, and that's a largely irrelevant fact. Wallace continued to press the point, and Pfeiffer continued to evade. Folks, I've got to give a shout out here. You know, Chris Wallace, I really admire Chris Wallace for the way he was pursuing this guy. Dan Pfeiffer did not want to answer these questions, and folks, I'm starting to notice a trend here. So we've heard Hillary Clinton say, what difference does it make whether or not this was a protest or an organized terrorist attack? And now we have Dan Pfeiffer, the White House spokesperson, saying it's irrelevant where Obama was during that night. So irrelevance tends to be a big theme here, ladies and gentlemen. Irrelevance seems to be the main. I mean, that tends to be what they're doing in this administration. They can't, the administration can't come to grips with what's happening, so what are they going to do? They're going to distance themselves from Benghazi by saying that this whole entire thing was irrelevant. Unfreaking believable. Let's continue. Alright, so I'm in the, okay. Yeah. Nothing else here. Yeah. So, now folks, if I were, so that was the end of the article, actually, I guess. Now folks, if I were President of the United States, well, first of all, I wouldn't get elected today because I'm way too conservative. But if I was running for president and I was president, Jason Bealey would be my vice president. But second of all, and more importantly, I would basically be in the Situation Room 24/7. Probably. Because national security would be... National security is one of my top concerns. It has always been one of my top concerns. And the fact that Dan Pfeiffer wasn't able to answer where Obama was. The fact that no one's been able to answer as to where Obama was, even Obama hasn't come out and said where he was during that attack. That bothers the hell out of me. That bothers the hell out of me, folks. I'm sorry. This president is not taking any responsibility whatsoever for Benghazi, and it's really getting me upset. We have to stay firm on this, folks. We have to stay firm on this. The American people must keep asking questions. Look, I apologize for yelling on air, but folks, you have to understand. You have to understand that we are in dire straits here as a nation. We have an economy that is down the tubes. And there's just so much going on with this country. And I hate to say it, but this administration, with the way they're acting with Benghazi, and now with the IRS scandal, I hate to say this, but this administration has proved to me with Benghazi and with the IRS, they just really don't give a crap about national security. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, they just simply don't. And it breaks my heart. I wish I could say for certain that I felt safe with Obama at the helm, but the truth is, I don't. Because, folks, if he can't even handle a situation happening off in a foreign land, if he can't even handle a situation, an attack on our embassy in a foreign country, are we safe? Are we safe? Folks, I've got to take a quick time out. I'll be right back. When we come back, I'll be playing a clip from Jay Carney, the press kit, and from Barack Obama regarding Benghazi. The truth will come out, folks. It will. But first, we must analyze the lies and the deception with this administration is foisting upon us. I'll be right back. You're listening to the Field Analysis on Junior Factor Nation. Also heard on the Whitfield on Next Gen Conservative Radio. Be right back, folks.
You're listening to the Whitfield Analysis on Junior Factor Nation, also heard on the Next Gen Conservative Radio Network. you, conservative. Part of the JFN lineup of hosts. Speak without fear.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm back, and we've got clips of Jay Carney, the spokes kid. Now, I'll admit, I tend to borrow audio clips from Jason because he and I have lots of the same content. And so this is, this is Jay Carney on a reaction to Benghazi. I don't quite remember which one this is because Jay Carney has multiple. Jason has multiple clips of Jay Carney speaking about the IRS on here. I'll get my bearings once we've played this, so I'll play this and then I'll analyze it. But one thing is for certain. Jay Carney is BSing on this as well. I know this for a fact.
IRS leadership response to the report, which is included at the end of the report, acknowledges some minor problems with methodology, basically, but says, we believe that frontline career employees that made the decisions act out of desire for efficiency and not out of any political or partisan viewpoint. And the IRS says that these issues at this point have been resolved. Does the President buy that?
Well, the President believes that the Treasury Department, as he has directed, needs to hold those responsible for these failures accountable, and that they need to make sure that each of the Inspector General's recommendations, each of them, is implemented quickly so that such conduct never happens again. And, you pointed out the observations of the IG audit or report, and I think that's significant.
I apologize, folks. This is I realized halfway through, Jay Carney is not talking about Benghazi here. He's talking about the IRS. Oh boy, that was Well, it's live radio, and you do mess up here every once in a while, but it's partially Jason's fault because he labeled this one as Jay Carney on Benghazi, so I apologize. I might have to relabel that one Carney on the IRS, because that can get confusing if Stephanie Conway uses it on her show. And if any of you know her, see, I'm nice to Jason. Because see, even though he mislabeled his clip, I can I'll be nice to him and I'll fix his mistake. If Stephanie plays this on her show and it was mislabeled, I'm pretty sure she would go and kill Jason. She is not as forgiving as I am. But, anyway, maybe I should... Anyway, let me find the other clip of Carney on Benghazi, and that was a hilarious blooper, but hey, it's live radio and it happens, so what will you do? Oh. Alright, let me get the proper audio. Let me find the proper audio file here. I know I have it in my roster. Alright. Hopefully this is the correct one because it also says Jay Carney on Benghazi. Hopefully this is not a duplicate of the other one. Wouldn't that be horrible if it was, ladies and gentlemen? Alright. Hopefully this is the correct one. I think we'll know here in a sec.
Was made it, and I accept that stylistic may not precisely describe a change of one word to another.
No, I'm just these underwent extensive changes after they were written by the CIA. These were concerns that were raised by the State Department that the White House directed the interagency process to use in making these talking points.
Well, I think
the CIA original version included references to Al Qaeda, references to Ansar al-Islam. The original CIA version included extensive discussion of the previous threats of terrorist attack in Benghazi. Those were taken out after the CIA wrote its initial draft.
And then the CIA wrote another draft.
Based on input from the State Department.
Well, but here's what I've been saying,
Do you
John.
deny that?
No, John, what I'm saying is, and I've answered this question several times now, but I'm happy to answer it again if you let me answer it, and that is that there was an interagency process, which is always the case, because a lot of agencies have a stake in a matter like this. The investigative agency, the CIA, the intelligence agencies, the State Department in this case, the national security staff. And everybody provided information and comment. And then on Saturday morning, the CIA said, we're going to take a crack at drafting these points based on what we know. And the things that you're talking about, again, don't go to the fundamental issue here, which was what could be said concretely about what the intelligence community knew to be true. Not that some people thought it was Ansar al-Sharia. Some people thought it was other al-Qaeda affiliates or other Libyan extremists. So we knew it was extremists, or we believed we knew that extremists had participated. There was also the belief from the beginning by the intelligence community.
Okay, so sorry to interrupt this clip here, but the question needs to be asked then. Jay, if you knew that this was al-Qaeda from the beginning, why then were you guys so hell-bent on why then are you guys so hell-bent on or why were you guys so hell-bent? Sorry, my brain is just seething with anger, and when I get angry, okay, let me rephrase that question again. If you guys knew that this was a terrorist attack from the beginning, you bozos, why were you so hell-bent on the fact that this was caused by a YouTube video? And by the way, anyone with half a brain from the beginning knew that this was not a YouTube video. On the day when the YouTube video theory came out, I was one of the first ones on Twitter, at least in my age group, to call BS. I am, oh my god. Of this administration just really me off. Yes, I did use the bleeper button because I'm at that point today. See? This administration this is the one thing I will say about this administration that's good. Eventually, we are getting the truth from them slowly but surely. We are getting the truth slowly but surely from them, and this is an example. For instance, the White House did say that, the White House did say that this was caused because of a YouTube video, and I just love how Jay Carney discredited that theory. At least Jay told the truth on that, but see, they're all lying, but they're all mixing up their lies. It's kind of hilarious. Anyway, let's finish this clip.
in these points that there had been protests out of which the attack occurred, protests in response to the demonstrations that were in Cairo at our embassy that were in response to that video. That turned out not to be the case, but it demonstrates the fluidity of the information, the fact that it was hard and continues to be hard in investigation to know concretely, especially in the first days afterwards, what happened. And that's why we were so careful to say, here's what we know, or we believe we know. And every time we said that, we fully expect this information to change as we learn more. And it did, and we provided it. And again, the whole effort here by Republicans to find some hidden mystery comes to nothing because the president called it an act of terror. The ambassador to the United Nations, that very Sunday that has caused Republicans so much concern, talked about the possible involvement of Al-Qaeda and Ansar al-Sharia. All of this is a distraction from the key issues. A diplomatic post was attacked by individuals in Libya, in Benghazi. 4 Americans lost their lives. From the beginning, the president has committed all the resources of this administration, of this government, to finding out who was responsible and to bringing them to justice. He also...
Oh. Oh, folks, I've just got to say, I love how Carney is just absolutely lying about this. You know, he and Obama both are saying, oh, these are Republican conspiracy theories, and we called it a terrorist attack from the beginning. No, you called it, really, I thought it was just, a random protest from, pissed off. And yes, I don't need to believe that. I can say pissed off. This was not a reaction from pissed off Muslims. That's what you tried saying in the beginning, but this was a terrorist attack, and I'm glad you guys are finally admitting to it. But the fact that you guys are contradicting your statements is still worry for me. And, hang on, folks. I'm going to take a quick time out, and I've got to answer a text message, and then I'll wrap up the show for tonight. But I hope I've made some sense tonight, and I'll get to my closing points here in a second. Be right back. Alright, folks, I'm back. So, I guess... Alright, so I've been ranting and yelling a lot today, and I apologize for screaming. I realize that Believe me, if this is the first time that you've tuned into my show, I apologize, because I'm usually a lot calmer, and a lot more corrected, and a lot more collected. The thing that bothers me the most about what's been going on with Benghazi is the contradiction of statements, and the lies from the administration and the liberal media, and everything else that has surrounded this. The truth must come out. And, yeah, to add on to the closing points, I'll quote from Michael. The country is screwed if it's not getting screwed. Well, and the president, you're right. You're right, Michael. The president is screwing up the country on so many levels. But don't misunderstand what I'm about ready to say, because the economy is important too. But the economy and national security are two completely different things. I mean, the economy should not be screwed up either, but this Benghazi thing, the contradictions have to stop. We are not going to let this thing go easily. Folks, the Junior Factor Nation and Calgary Nation, we are looking into every angle on Benghazi. We will find the truth. I've got connections over at Breitbart. I'm keeping in contact with the Breitbart guys. And I'm probably going to send an email to Ben Shapiro tonight asking him if there's any new info. Folks, the truth will come out. And I ask that you continue to support us in finding the truth. Folks, it's been a pretty good show tonight. But, and again, I apologize to the audience for yelling repeatedly. It's just, I hope you can understand how ticked off I am. If we don't find the truth about Benghazi, this country is going down. There is no other way to say that. Now, the gloves have to come off. Pray for this country. Pray for this country. That's all I can say. Alright, folks, it's been a great show tonight. Thank you to Michael, Eric, and Andrew for tuning into the chat room. Thank you to the rest of you for tuning in. Thank you for downloading my podcast. Thank you for contacting me and spreading the show around. Thank you for supporting me, Jason, Caden, and Stephanie. We could always use your support. Thank you for everything. Ladies and gentlemen, good night, God bless, and I'll see you next week, ladies and gentlemen. God bless, and thank you for tuning in.
Sam Whitfield, the GQ conservative, part of the JFN lineup of hosts. Speak without fear.